public.
Hi there, welcome to the Sunday edition of This is Exclusive. On a day when Prime Minister has wished well for prosperity of Nepal, we bring to you slivers of normalcy returning from the ground with exclusive reports and of course our reporter live from Kathmandu. Also, Pakistan is at it again, rebuilding the Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters with full Pakistan army support. Very exclusive insights there. Let's begin with the headlines. As Justice Sushila Karki takes charge of the interim government of Nepal, normalcy limping back. The Nepal Supreme Court resumes functioning from makeshift tents. Aid meant for relief diverted. Pakistan funding reconstruction of LET headquarters destroyed in Operation Sindhu.
कांग्रेस पार्टी के अध्यक्ष ने कहा था कि मोदी नाचने गाने वालों को भारत रत्न दे रहा है। असम के बेटे का, भारत के सपूत का कांग्रेस ऐसे अपमान करती है।
Prime Minister Modi calls out Congress's abuse politics, says the Congress insulted Bhupen Hazarika on Bharat Ratna.
कांग्रेस देश विरोधियों की, घुसपैठियों की भी बहुत बड़ी रक्षक बन चुकी है। कांग्रेस जब सत्ता में थी तो घुसपैठ को बढ़ावा देती थी।
Congress supports infiltrators. PM pledges to make Assam infiltrators free, says illegal immigrants changing demography. Protests in anger against India versus Pakistan cricket match grows. Families of Pahalgam victims speak out. All right, friends, let's begin. This is exclusive with reports coming in from Nepal. The Supreme Court, in fact, heavily damaged due to the vandalism and arson carried out during those Gen Z protests on September 9, has resumed judicial work from makeshift tents, in fact, from the courtyard of the ruined building complex. We are getting you ground report from there, filed by our correspondent Raghavendra, who is camping in Kathmandu for the same. Let's have a look.
In Kathmandu, Nepal Supreme Court rises from the ashes quite literally. After Gen Z-led protests torched the nation's judicial heart, justices are now delivering rulings from makeshift tents. Last week, Nepal's Supreme Court became a casualty of rage. Protesters fueled by anger over corruption and a social media ban set the building ablaze, destroying decades of judicial records. The Supreme Court has set up makeshift tents outside its charred remains, resuming operations to meet the urgent needs of Nepal citizens.
ये तो नहीं थी। लोगों को क्या लग रहा था, जो भी काठमांडू में है, मिडिल क्लास लोगों के बच्चे जो एडुकेटेड भी है और उससे नई प्रविधि से सारी चीज़ से है, वो एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या था कि एक पीसफुल प्रोटेस्ट होगा, मगर क्या हुआ कि वो प्रोटेस्ट भड़की गई। किसे भड़की गई, उसमें बहुत सारे स्पेकुलेशन जो हुए थे ना, आशंके अब आ रही है। हिंडसाइट में देखिए कई तरह की वीडियो आ रही थी। किसी को एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं था कि पार्लियामेंट की जो बिल्डिंग है वो स्टॉर्म हो जाएगा, ऐसा किसी ने नहीं सोचा था। जरूर सोचा था। अब हिंडसाइट में कोई एविडेंस आ रहा था कि इससे बोल रहा था कि वो बिल्कुल पीसफुल प्रोटेस्ट नहीं था। इसमें अब मेरे को ये बोलने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है कि इसमें बहुत सारी घुसपैठ हो गई। अब तो हमारी न्यूली अपॉइंटेड केयरटेकर प्राइम मिनिस्टर है, वो भी स्पेकुलेट करे।
As Nepal's first female interim Prime Minister, Sushila Karki takes charge. The nation faces a daunting task of rebuilding trust, institutions, and a fragile democracy shaken to the core.
Well, this is for sure a story of resilience of a society, though of course condemned by its political class. Raghavendra joins us live from Kathmandu. राघवेंद्र, आपने जो बात की अभी एडवोकेट ग्याली से और सुप्रीम कोर्ट की वो तस्वीरें लाए, एक बहुत साफ तस्वीर निकल के आती है, वो ये कि जो ये प्रोटेस्ट हुए थे उसमें इन्फिल्ट्रेशन हो गया था, वो हाईजैक हो गए थे, उसमें गुंडा राज आ गया था। आपको ग्राउंड से ऐसी परिस्थिति का मुआयना करने को मिला है?
बिल्कुल, देखिए मैं इतने दिन से हूँ, मैंने जो देखा है वो अपना अनुभव कि जो सिचुएशन था, जिस तरह से सोशल मीडिया पर कैंपेन चलाया गया कि 8 तारीख को शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से प्रोटेस्ट होगा, जिसमें जेनजी और तमाम लोगों को उसमें समर्थन था। लोग सुबह 8 बजे, 9 बजे, 10 बजे इकट्ठा होने लगे थे और 1 या 2 बजे तक वो प्रोटेस्ट शांतिपूर्ण चला था। लेकिन उसके बाद अचानक सुप्रीम कोर्ट के गेट को तोड़ा जाता है, फिर उसमें अचानक प्रशासन को जिस तरह चीजें हो रही हैं, उसमें गोली भी चलती, वहां शहीद होता है, फिर इन सब गुस्सा भड़कती है। लोग दिन ये कहा जा रहा था कि जल्दी 9 तारीख सड़कों पर नहीं उतरा था, लेकिन 9 तारीख को पूरा काठमांडू जला दिया गया, जिसमें न तो मंत्री कार्यालय बचा, न सुप्रीम कोर्ट बचा, कहते हैं कि कोई 5 स्टार होटल, जिससे होटलों पर भी आग लगा दिया, तमाम थानों को लूट लिया गया, जेल तोड़ दिया, सब कुछ हुआ इधर। तो इसमें प्रधानमंत्री जो वर्किंग अभी प्रधानमंत्री है शीला कार्की, उन्होंने भी कहा कि पहले नजर में ये लगा
राघवेंद्र,
इसमें भी इस तरह की हिंसा।
राघवेंद्र, आपने बहुत सारी रिपोर्ट्स भेजी हैं, मुझे बताइए कि नॉर्मलसी किस तरह से आ रही है? सुशीला कर्की के बाद क्या पूरी शांति बहाली हो गई है? आपने कुछ एक रिपोर्ट भेजी थी कि पशुपतिनाथ मंदिर आज फिर से खुल गए हैं, शुरू हो गए हैं वहां पे दर्शनार्थियों का आना। क्या जमीन पर परिस्थिति कही जाए कि एकदम नॉर्मल हो गई है?
बिल्कुल, देखिए जब से इन्होंने शपथ लिया है सुशीला कार्की ने, तब से स्थिति वाकई बहुत तार्किक है। आज सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी खुल गया, था वहां माहौल भी देखकर लग गया है, क्योंकि बिल्डिंग को जला दिया गया है, और बहुत सारी चीजें शुरू हो गई है। जेल टूट गया था, जेल प्रशासन वहां पर शुरू कर दिए हैं, तो इस तरह की चीजें नॉर्मल हुई है, भी खुल गया है, काठमांडू शुरू हुई है।
ओके राघवेंद्र, आपके थोड़ा ऑडियो में हमें समस्या आ रही है, so we'll try and reconnect maybe and then come back to you, but on the same story, in fact, while in Kathmandu we are seeing this situation, we also have Sri Ravi Shankar, who spoke on the situation in Nepal to our correspondent Gopi Shah a while back. Let's listen to him.
You know, young people are coming out, and Gen Z especially, they need to be given an opportunity to take care of the country, to take care of the whole society. I'm glad that they have come out and the whole issue is all resolved just in 2 days of time. And then after that, the children came on the street, and of course, it's not the intention of children to set fire here and there, but you know, antisocial elements, they just barge into such movements. I wish a very more prosperous, stable Nepal, and I welcome all the Gen Z youngsters that they have proved that they can take responsibility for the country and bring the needed changes, most needed changes in that country.
All right, on to our second exclusive, which is to our western neighbor, Pakistan. from the smoking ruins of Muridke to the sound of bulldozers and concrete mixtures, the Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters are being rebuilt again by subterfuge, by cheat sheet that Pakistan has really copied over years of diverting funds, procuring them in the name of aid, in the name of development, and then channelizing those funds into terror factories that Lashkar-e-Taiba is. In fact, these pictures are of the place, the very nerve center, struck by India's Operation Sindoor. It was reduced to rubble and is now being rebuilt by the Pakistani state apparatus. Is it the deep state? Is it the entire infrastructure that has been built around these markazes, which is being pressed into service to rebuild, is something we have to understand. Pak connections are very clear in this rebuilding of Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters at Muridke. For more on this, Gursimran joins us. These are pictures, exclusive pictures, friends. And even as we play those pictures, Gursimran joins us live from Jammu. Gursimran, while we have the evidence by way of these pictures of Pakistan clearly rebuilding Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters, do we have any information of from where the money is coming? Is it the flood relief money being diverted? Is it the money being raised in the name of Kashmir, which is being given to Lashkar-e-Taiba? Do we have any evidence of the Pakistani deep state's involvement in this rebuilding, given that pictures had emerged of Pakistani generals and army officers attending the funeral ceremonies of the terrorists who were killed in Operation Sindoor?
Yes, Abhishek, if you look back to the date in what has happened in the last 4 to 5 months, this almost clears from where the funding is coming to Lashkar-e-Taiba, who all are supporting. See, first the Muridke was hit. India gave ample proofs to the Pakistan that it was the base of Lashkar-e-Taiba. It was not only the accommodation facility, but also the weapon storage facility and also the training facility of the cadre of Lashkar-e-Taiba. So it was hit by the India using its Mirage, and it was of very few first strikes that India had. It was roughly around 1:10 in the morning of May of 7th when Operation Sindoor was launched. So even then the Pakistan failed to act, and now they are giving a clear-cut an open space for the Lashkar-e-Taiba to rebuild its headquarters, that is Markaz-e-Taiba in Muridke. Now what is happening that they are now removing whatever the structure is left. It is only the support pillars of the structure that were left after the Indian strikes that were carried out on the May 7th in the morning by the Indian Armed Forces. The Air Force carried out those strikes using its Mirage, and now what has happened that they are removing those debris, and with the set deadline of February 5, which happens to be the Kashmir Solidarity Day, which Pakistan has often been playing once as one of the key supporters of the so-called Kashmir cause. So now similar is the case when it comes to the Lashkar-e-Taiba. They have fixed a deadline that by 5th of February they will be fixing it, they will be building a new headquarter, and then there will be a convention that will be held there. Now coming to the support that is coming into being, see, starting from what has happened during the Operation Sindoor, when Lashkar terrorists have taken over the forward outpost of the Pakistani army, because it was Pakistani army that flee from their forward post, and the Lashkar was tasked, the deputy, one of the bodyguards of Saifullah Kasuri, who is the mastermind of Pahalgam terror attack, he was seen in the forward base of the Pakistani army. Then during the floods, we have seen that Pakistani army, some NGOs, and also it's the Lashkar group that was operating there in the flood affected areas. And also remember the FATF report that came a couple of months ago that said that the humanitarian aid is being used by Jaish and Lashkar for their own benefits. The aid is being diverted to them via different channels in the areas that are controlled by Lashkar and Jaish. So it makes it really very clear from where the funding is coming, because there was also a call that was given by Lashkar-e-Taiba that they are going to build 313 markaz all across Pakistan, and for that they need funding some 398 crore, 400 crores. So that funding is also being used. Also the humanitarian assistance that has come for the flood, that is also being used by the Lashkar-e-Taiba to build their this premises once again. But not only this, but 313 markaz all across Pakistan. So Lashkar is now trying to make it the big big brother when it comes to the terror groups operating in Pakistan, and this cannot be possible without the active involvement of the Pakistani ISI, because the deep state, they know that without the terror groups being there, they have nothing to do.
Yeah, Gursimran, one quick question before I let you go, because I believe you mentioned that a February 2026 deadline has been put for this project, and that Pakistani state is channelizing about 4 crore rupees by way of funds to get the Murid ke headquarters up. Can you confirm that this is part of a larger plan to rebuild the entire terror machinery that was destroyed by Operation Sindoor, and in that sense, Pakistan is really challenging India again?
Yes, Abhishek, there is absolutely no doubt. See, it was on the 50th day that we got some photos from the Lal Masjid that is in Muzaffarabad. It was untouched. There was no construction work that was going on. But as the time surpassed and we are roughly to 115 days after the attack, the India's offensive strikes that have taken place inside the Pakistani territory on the terror basis, Pakistan is now trying to rebuild it. And also by setting the 5th of February 2026 deadline, Pakistan wants, and the terror groups wants them to connect to the people of Kashmir, which have outrightly rejected them. But this also means that on 5th of February, there lies a threat that the Pakistan or its terror groups may carry out some major terror strike, because they want to make this day something memorable as what they have claimed during the ceremony in which they have said that they will be holding a convention there also on the 5th of February 2026. So there lies a threat, and yes, one thing is very clear, that time and again these terror groups are reviving themselves.
Absolutely. Terror groups reviving with full Pakistani state and the deep state backing, unfortunately, which means that when India says Operation Sindoor is not over yet, we are anticipating that we would need another round to teach Pakistan a lesson. Thank you so much, Gursimran, for joining us on this. And moving on to a Republic Super Exclusive. At a time when the nation is debating the biggest tax overhaul since 2017, Republic spoke to the man at the center of it all, Sanjay Kumar Agrawal, chairman of the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, CBIC, breaks down the new generation GST reform, from rationalizing rates to cutting disputes, from faster refunds to relief for small businesses. Agrawal says this is nothing short of a transformational reform that has taken place. Let's take a look at this exclusive interview he gave to Gopi Shah.
Joining us is Sanjay Kumar Agrawal. He's the chairman of CBIC. So we welcome you at Republic. The first question that comes to our mind is, what are the parameters behind the rate rationalization? What kind of deliberations went through the ministry?
For this exercise, first of all, we looked into what is causing the complexity in the GST, and we found that complexity is arising because of the multiple rates. The existing rates are 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. That was leading to a lot of disputes, interpretational issues. So first of all, it was thought that rate structure should be simple, and there has to be one standard rate and only one merit rate. And apart from that, certain goods which may be in the nature of sin goods or luxury goods can be subject to 40% special rate. So that was the starting point, and after that, how the goods have to be placed between standard rate or merit rate, that was decided on the basis of how these goods are consumed, used. So items which are used by common man for meeting their daily necessities, those items were kept on lower merit rate. Likewise, the items which are used, say, in farming sector have been kept at merit rate. The items of mass consumption like textiles have been kept at lower rate. Similarly, the food items where the maximum number of disputes were arising and the items were subject to 5%, 12% or 18%, there the rate has been brought down to 5%. Now all food items are chargeable at 5% rate. Similarly, the items which were in 28%, items for like TVs or large screen TVs or air conditioners or cement. So cement or these kind of items have been brought down to standard 18% rate, and only the items where there cannot be any kind of dispute, which are in the nature of luxury goods like automobiles. And among the automobiles also, I would like to mention that buses or trucks which were subject to 28% have been brought down to 18%. And that in fact bringing down the rate on trucks from 28% to 18% will make an impact on our logistics cost, which are stated to be higher than as compared to other developed economies. So only on the cars which are maybe in mid segment or luxury segment, these are subjected to 40% rate.
So in an interview with our editor-in-chief Arnab Goswami, Sanjeev Sanyal had in fact mentioned about this, that this is just the beginning. GST reform is just the beginning. What can we expect from the government in the coming months? What else is expected after GST reforms?
I will be talking only about the GST, what more can be done on GST, because otherwise it's a transformational reform and it has taken care of the rate anomalies and made the rate structure very simple. Not GST is truly simple and transparent tax system. On process side also, number of things have been done, like a simplified registration scheme has been introduced for small businesses who are mainly in retailing and may not be issuing business to business invoices. For them, a simplified scheme has been introduced where the registration will be granted on the basis of their opting not to pass on more than 2.5 lakh monthly ITC. So in such cases, registration will be granted automatically by system without any officer intervention within 3 working days. Likewise, on refund side also, fast tracking has been done in respect of compliant taxpayers, where they have made zero rated export supplies and they are claiming the ITC refund, accumulated ITC refund. In such cases, 90% amount will be provisionally released within 7 days. And likewise, in case of inverted duty structure, because there may be certain inversion in duty because goods have been kept according to nature of goods, maybe at lower rate, whereas their inputs may be finding application in multiple industries. So there the rates are inputs are subjected to 18%. That may lead to inversion. But since we have quickened the process of granting refunds in inverted duty structure, so that will take care of the situation. But apart from that, there may be more procedural simplification in pipeline. One could be that in return filing, presently the outward liability get auto-populated from their GST1 return, and likewise the input tax credit which is available to them get also auto-populated. And the government has provided 2 instruments. One instrument in the form of GSTF1A to amend the outward liability. Similarly, another instrument is in the form of invoice management facility on the inward side. So if these 2 instruments are used by taxpayer, so then the auto population will be exactly how they want to file the return, and there will not be any need to make any amendment. Because what happens if they edit it? So in editing, then the mismatches happen and then they receive some notice from the department. So that lead to lot of unnecessary paperwork. So we are trying to encourage use of these 2 instruments to amend their outward liability or input tax credit which they want to avail in that particular month, so that there will not be any mismatches. Presently work is going on to fine tune these 2 instruments. There are certain technical issues which will be sorted out maybe in a quarter, and once these instruments become mandatory for usage, these mismatches will disappear. It will lead to improved compliances by the taxpayers, and the compliance burden on taxpayer will also come down. Effect of this will also be on fake ITC. So it will be it will bring lot more simplification and streamlining of compliances in GST ecosystem.
So coming to the e-commerce and food delivery services, they have now been included in section 9(5) of CGST, which means that there might be additional charges involved. Now, these are the 2 major forces behind the India's digital economy. How do you look at this? Is this going to impact the two major forces of digital economy negatively, e-commerce as well as food delivery services?
I will explain it by giving an example. Say when you order food through an e-commerce operator, how many times delivery charges are charged separately? You might have noticed that most of the times you don't find a separate mention of delivery charges. It is only the platform fees or handling fees. So what happens that many of the times ECO operators, they make it part of the platform fees which they are charging from the restaurants, and on that platform fees the GST which is applicable is 18%, and in case they are showing these delivery charges separately and they claim that it is through their delivery partners, and since it is provided by them and they are below threshold, so no GST is to be discharged. So that is leading to many disputes. So what will happen that because of this exercise, 18% on delivery charge services which are provided through ECO operator, those kind of disputes will disappear on interpretation, whether it is provided by delivery partner or whether it has been provided by the ECO operator. And similarly the rate arbitrage, there will not be any rate arbitrage because the platform fees is subjected to GST at 18%. Delivery services will also be subjected to 18%. One more thing which I would like to mention, that since it involves amendment of a section, so amendment will be carried out in the finance bill for amendment in GST law.
Sir, one more concern is how much is it going to percolate to the ultimate beneficiaries? If you talk about the consumers and if you talk about the MRP, there is a concerning factor there, that how much of things are going to become cheaper. What do you have to say about this? How do you look at this?
So far we have interacted with the industry, and industry is very upbeat and positive that all the benefits which will happen because of the GST rate cuts will get reflected in the prices, lowering of prices, and the benefits will be ultimately passed on to end consumer. Otherwise also nobody is supposed to make any profiteering out of these GST rate cuts. And India is a very mature economy. There is a lot of competition. If somebody is not passing on the benefits, will get pointed out. And if it is pointed out to revenue department, we will take it up with the industry associations. Otherwise also in such matters, the pressures which get generated again may be a big embarrassment for the industry which may not pass it on.
This week on Get Me Right, anatomy of the social media fires that gutted Nepal. Is the Gen Z's disconnect with reality so dangerous as to burn down their own country? Or did the people of Nepal pay the price of decades of corruption and misgovernance by its leaders? Was it a tinderbox waiting for a fuse to go off?